Thank you, Will, for starting the recording. Today, we are going in to dive a little bit deeper from our basics training. So, if you haven't taken our basics training, there might be some things you might be a little lost, but don't worry, you'll be able to kind of pick it up from here. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. But we're just going to be building off of that basics training. We're going to be diving a little bit deeper into the platform and kind of how to manage and create the layouts that you would like to do. Um, Allison, we provide the basics training every second Wednesday of the month. We also have previous recordings you can always go through as well. But we do provide that every second Wednesday of the month, and then every fourth Wednesday of the month, we come in to do the diving a little bit deeper. Yeah, we will. We're gonna start sending off those links when we send out the just the notifications to let you know that these are coming up. So we'll be sure to do that. All right, but continuing on here. So today we're just gonna do just quick introductions. Then we're gonna do, and when I say introductions, just our team. We don't have to go through everybody today. Then we're going to go through and creating those layouts, those landing pages that you may want to do later on, and kind of how to be able to add those certain blocks or elements and kind of configure those things out yourself. Next, we're going to go over kind of the custom blocks, kind of know what the differences are between blocks that are just used once and ones that want to be reused throughout the website. And then we'll talk about that responsive design and how to configure your layout builder to do the responsive design. And then we're going to get a little creative with those pages that we are going to create today. So first off, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Vincent Salgado. I am the lead on the agency platform team. So I'm in charge of our vendors and our team as we start to build and enhance the platform that we have today. Some of you have already gotten hold your hands on it, been playing around with it for some time. Just know that we have some updates coming up to make the platform a little bit better. So, but yeah. Does anybody have any questions, or does anybody want to cover anything specifically that we might be able to go over throughout this training? Yes, Allison, is anything, what in particular are you looking for? Okay. Yeah, we'll go over that. Well, resources is something that a lot of people have questions on as far as adding those documents to it. So we will take a look at that as well. So first off, yes, Thomas.
Yeah, I noticed I've been working on the new template. I noticed there's no more accordion anymore.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Yeah, so we'll see. You should still have that, but we'll take a look.
Okay, maybe I'm not seeing it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if everybody can click on that link that I had just posted up in chat. So this is going to be the training site we're going to be working on today. We're going to have a hands-on training. I'm going to send you where you can go to log in. So the second link is where you're going to go to log into the website itself. I'm going to switch over to the website. So, whoops, let me switch back so you guys still have that password. So let me switch over. Okay. So when you go to that user page, it will just prompt you for, put in your username and password. So it'll be training user. And the password is just with capital P, password 1234. When you log into the website, you'll see something where it says you've been a member for 3 months and 2 weeks. So let me know when you guys get to that. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to log in here. And then I'm going to switch over to my screen. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my screen here. So when you log in after you enter in the username and password, this is what you just see, right? You're a member for 3 months, 2 weeks, and then you have to the left-hand side is this admin bar. So that's just from last training. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with the admin bar itself. Um, so I'm just going to go to the home page. For those of you who don't know, that little teardrop in the corner, if you click on it, it would actually just take you to your home page in case you're looking for a quick way to get back to your home page in case you're in the admin menu itself. So this is our training. This is our training website. We're just going to go through. I just kind of want to catch some people up on some things here. As you guys know, here this is just a training site, so we want to be able to change some things around. So the first thing I want to get you guys to do is on this front page here itself. I want you to edit one of these elements, whatever it is that you want. We might run into some locks as far as like what gets changed, but if you go ahead and either you click on the layout, and let's just remember right now we're going to edit the blocks that are in the page. So this is just a reminder for those of you who are getting your websites and you're looking to edit something with that's already been put into your website. Here's a way to kind of go through and edit some of these, especially on the front page, whether that is to edit one of these homepage slideshows, the welcome message. This is where you go and you do that. So when you hover over, you'll see this little pencil icon. You can click on that and then click on configure. This one in particular, actually, I forgot. This is the layouts page. If I go back to the view side, the pencil icon, click on that and then click on edit. This will allow you to edit what is in the body itself. So here I was just going to change this real quick, exclamation point, and then click save. And I've changed that just quickly, just add an exclamation point. But kind of give that just a run through real quick, just kind of refresh your memory as far as editing the blocks that are within a page itself. Give everybody just a couple minutes here. Let me know if there are any questions you guys run into.
Yes. So our top bar, along, like right where you're looking at, like your agency is important to us. If we wanted to add something to that, how would we do that?
We're talking about the slideshow that's here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for this one in particular, if I hover over this pencil icon to the right here, it's going to be the bottom one. This top one is for the entire page. But the bottom one right here, if you click on edit, this brings up these slides that are already in here. So there's a few different things that you can do here. One, you can add in a whole new slide here at the bottom. Say click add slide. Or if you're looking to maybe just exchange out an image that's on there. So let's say for this first one, what you do is to remove this with the X and then click on add media. And then you can either upload one or you could take an image that's already here. So I'm just going to click on one here, insert selected. So now that made it the first slide image, and then scroll down and just click save.
Okay. So how do we get it to link to a different part of the website then? Like if we're changing.
Yeah. So if you're looking to do within the slide itself, obviously that's just one thing where it has the image that's in here. You have the link here as part of that slide. So if you want to do to a different part of the website, so the URL, if you start typing in something, so you say if you know what the page is. So for example, I'm going to just type in about. This is going to bring the about page. So if I just click on that, that will now link to the about page. And I could change the link text here, about us. And then, yeah, so that's how you would change the link that it links off to. And obviously, if you need to change the title of it, you can change it there. And then there's always text that you can add below that.
Okay.
Yes, Yasmin.
What if we want to add text to the image?
If you want to add text to the image, yeah, that's where the slideshow title will be, and the slide text. So the slideshow title is going to be a little bit bigger, bolder, and then the text itself will be a little bit smaller than the title, so that you can add it in there as well.
Thank you.
And in case that image in the slideshow is a little, let's say you have white text and you have a white background and it kind of looks kind of hard to read, you can always check this to add an image overlay, which kind of just makes that image darker. And then, or you can change the actual color of the text to either black or white on a specific slideshow or specific slide. Kathy, yes, to answer your question in the chat, at least to change the order of the slides themselves. You'll see this little cross icon that's here. So what you can do is that you can click on it, hold it, and then move it up to where you need it to be. Let's see. Did I grab it? Sorry, this one's freaking out a little bit on my computer. But yeah, you'll be able to kind of grab those. And then when you see those little cross icons, you can drag and reorder things however you want them to be. This one seems to be having trouble. I might need to reload here. Okay. I see someone already changed the front page image. So good to go there. And again, you kind of see right here in this image, it is kind of it gets hard to read section here. So because with that, that's where you want to either change this text to either black, but it might be hard to see where the tree is. That's why the image overlay is there as well. Any other questions before we move on? So when you're going through your new website, I mean, just remember that's kind of how you'll go to edit certain pages. Other pages, you can go to the edit of the main page. If it's just kind of a standard static page that has static information, this is where you usually find it, is in the body. But in case you don't find it there, it's usually edited through those various blocks that you'll be able to change around.
How did you get to this page?
So at the top of every page, there is this there are these tabs that are up here. You have the edit, layout, manage display, revisions. All you need to worry about really is going to be either edit or layout. So those will change you to different things here. And we'll go over that here in a bit. So to continue on here, the next thing, as we learned, obviously in our last training, we went through adding content. So for the task that we have coming up, we're going to just go through creating a layout of a basic page. So when I click on add content and go to basic page, that's usually what we're going to want to start off with. If we're making some sort of landing page that has, either slideshow, banner, with various text blocks, and you kind of want to change it so it has that visual appeal, you want to start with a basic page. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to call it My Cool Page. I'm going to leave the body blank because I know that this is going to be a landing page where I'm going to make it more visual and add in those various components, whether that's an image with a text on the side and those type of things. I usually start with just a blank page. So I don't put anything in the body. I'm going to put this into the main menu. So the parent links, the main navigation, that looks good. And I will click save. So now I have my my page here. It's blank. There's nothing on it. This is a good starting point that I want to be for what I'm trying to create. So for example here, so the first thing I'm going to do when I create this blank page, and I want to create our landing page, I'm going to click on layout here. So layout pulls up the layout builder that we use throughout the website. So again, when you see your blocks of information, it's built with this on the back end where you have this layout builder that you are able to configure to how you want to do things. So moving things around within the layout builder, we have our default, kind of our default layout that's here. This top section, section 1, is meant for slideshows and banners that you can put stuff into. Section 2 is kind of more of a full page width if you want to put body of text or images in here. This is kind of where you'll go here. And then this section 3, again, this is our default. This is where we place the body of the page itself. If you were to just create a basic page with some body static text in there, this is where that will go. And then on the right hand will be that sub navigation in case you were to put this under the about section or under the resource section. That way it displays all of the resources, the other pages within resources will be on this sidebar navigation here. So any questions as far as these different various sections or this default layout? Okay, so we're going to continue on here. So with Layout Builder itself, it's a pretty powerful tool. It definitely takes some time getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty simple to kind of build out very visual pages and create something, from scratch that has a very good look and feel to it. So when you have Layout Builder is kind of built with these various blocks, meaning that I can take this, for example, and kind of move stuff around. So if I wanted this to be above this, this is called a breadcrumb. If I wanted to be across that, all it is just me taking it and dragging it into place where I want it. So there's different ways of going about doing that. If I wanted to take this breadcrumb, move it down into this section of the layout that I'm building, it's as simple as just kind of clicking and dragging it around. But I'm going to leave it the breadcrumb where it usually is. And what I'm going to do here is that, again, these layouts, they're built with what we call blocks. Yes, Kimberly.
Now, when you change the breadcrumbs to the bottom, or when you change it from another section to a different section, will it change just for that page or for the whole site?
It will change for just that page.
Okay.
There are some things that you can do so it changes for the whole site, but that's a whole nother level. And usually if you're looking for something like that, we can help you out with that just in case so nothing gets broken. But for individual pages, we left it up so you can create whatever layout you want for that particular page and it doesn't affect everywhere else.
Okay, thank you.
Vincent, what are you calling breadcrumbs? I guess I'm not understanding what.
Oh, breadcrumbs is this block right here. So what this means is that if I'm in a different part of the website, let's say I'm in leadership, I'm going to click on this real quick and we'll come back to that page. This is called breadcrumb. So this builds out automatically. You don't have to do anything, but this allows me to go up in the hierarchy of how the site is structured. So leadership is under the about section. So if I click on about, this will take me to the about page, and then above about is the home page itself. Does that make sense?
Honestly, no. I'm assuming that probably was something that was gone over in the first training, maybe.
Yeah, no, not really. It's just kind of it's a website structure thing. It just allows people just a different way of navigating it and kind of know where that particular content is nested under in your site structure itself. It's just another way to kind of navigate things. So again, if I'm in the resources and I'm on the events page, this breadcrumb should probably reload, but it would reload to where we say home, resources, and then events, and then you kind of move up. It's just kind of another menu structure.
Okay, so it's just like the title on the page then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. So going back here, I'm going to go back into the layout here. So just quickly, we're going to recap of how to add a block. So I'm going to add in a banner image here that's going to be at the top. So when I click on add block and we're putting in that content in here, the place you're going to go to is create a custom block. So when you click on add block, you'll see it appears to the right, and you click on that big blue button that says add custom block. So I'm going to click on banner here. Don't select display title because it's going to throw the title banner on the top of it, and you don't want that. But the title that's here is going to be what's going to be written across the banner itself. So this one, I'm going to say my cool page. I'm going to leave the description blank. I'm going to leave I don't need a link to anything. So I'll leave those blank, but I do want to add in an image here. So I'm going to add in this image here of this wedding table setting. Click on that. And then I'm going to add in a image overlay to make it a little bit darker. So it might be easier to read, and click add. So as you can see here, it uses that image and adds it for my banner image. So I'm going to go ahead and click save layout for my page itself. So one thing you might wonder is like, okay, well, that image, it seems to only be doing the top half of that. So when you upload your own images at the very beginning, before you could even do anything, you're going to have to crop those images into specific areas, how you want them to look. So you just have to kind of think it through. If I ever want to use this image for either a slideshow or a banner or something else, take the time, crop those images, just so then once you're done, you can use them throughout the website, and they'll crop in the exact area that you would like them to do. So you don't have to do it beforehand. You don't have to use Photoshop or Microsoft Paint in order to crop your images before you upload them. You can do it directly onto the website itself. But that's how we kind of easily kind of add in the first block that we want to do for our layout itself. So now that I have my cool page here, kind of as my title of my page, I don't need it here as well. So what I can do is that if I click on layout and again go down, here's the second title of that, I could just go ahead and just remove this block. And then now now that's no longer displaying here. So again, here's just a good basis of the first layouts that I'm building here for this particular page. Does anybody have any questions as far as adding in those new information into the layout? Okay. So I'm going to continue on here. So the other thing about this is that I know that the body field and this main navigation for this particular page, I'm not going to need those. I don't need to have another nav bar on this particular page. So what I can go ahead and do is just remove this entire section. So when I click on that, it's going to remove both of these blocks that are in here. So when I click on remove, it removes it from this here. So now I only have two sections. I have section 1 and section 2 to put information. So that looks good because I knew I wasn't going to do that. But what I want to do here is that I want to add in 3 cards across the bottom here for some visual appeal here. So for this, for example, I'm going to create a custom block again. So when I click on add block, go back up, the big blue button at the top, create custom block. And I'm going to add what is called here a card set. So I'm going to click on card set. And then I'm going to do 3 columns because I want 3 cards that are going to be side by side. And in case you're not understanding what a card is, we'll go over that in a second. You'll see here when I do it. So the card type, I'm going to make it a basic card. And then I'm going to add in the information in here. So here's my first card. I'm going to call it card 1. Add in an image. Again, I'm just going to pull from within here. Scroll down, URL. Let's just say this goes to the about page. Click on that. The link text is just going to say about, and then let's see. I'm going to use my favorite lorem ipsum generator. If you guys need a lorem ipsum generator, I highly suggest Cupcake Ipsum. So I'm just going to copy this. Go back here into my body, throw it in there. And then I'm going to add in a new card in here. Because I have 3 columns, I'm obviously going to want 3 cards to go along with it. So let me just add in titles, part 2, add in media. Again, I'll grab one of these images that are here already. Let's go with this one. Scroll down, the URL. I want this to go to the Contact Us page. Link text, Contact Us. Throw in some body text. And let's add in one more card here. This last one, we'll just call it card 3. Add in media. Let's do the picture of the Desert Botanical Gardens. And then the last one, I'm going to actually want to link this up to somewhere that's outside of the website. So you make sure you're going to put in the full entire link for it. So for this one, for example, I'm going to do google.com, but I had to put in the HTTPS. So if you just put in www.google.com, it's going to tell you that, oh, you need the full link or something. You're going to need the full link. So you actually make sure you do include the HTTPS within the link that you're linking off to. And then the last one, this one's just going to say learn more. Throw it in the body. And I'm going to add this entire block. So now this creates these cards. So in case you're wondering what we are calling cards here, these are these action cards that we use throughout the websites that we create. So these are kind of just bits of information where you can link up to the most important things, usually found within on the home page itself, where you kind of just analyze what are my 3 or 4 most important things that I need my users to go and do. Action cards is a really good way to have people go into go to your site, find what they're looking for. So let's say if it was renewing the license, they'll see that directly, big, prominent with an image, and like, okay, that's where I go to renew my image or my license. I just go ahead and click on that, and it'll take them to the renew license page. So that's kind of how we use cards. And you could put them on interior pages as well to link off to various information, whether that is a certain document or if that is a completely new page that has more information that they're looking for. But I'm going to click on Save Layout here to add in my cards. So as you can see here, we're starting to build this whole layout of things. Does anybody have any questions so far on this?
So you did this by clicking Page Edit and then going to Layout? Was that how you did it? Like started the full process?
Yeah. So you actually, when you're on the page at that top tabs menu, you see at the top, if you click on Layout, it will take you here. You can also, in case you are in that Page Edit section, if you're in here, you can also go to Layout here, and it'll take you to the same place.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. See what we got here. So, any other questions before we go to our first task that we're going to do here? Yes, Derek.
So this is unrelated to the exercise you just went through, but I believe I'm stuck in some kind of, I think it's quick edit, where I can't click on any link. It just brings up I think the quick edit for changing titles, and the admin bar to the side is gone for me.
Yeah, so what you're going to have to do, let me see if I can flush your cache here. don't have it. Yeah, I will fix that while we go into this next exercise. But one thing to avoid for those of you out there, when you get your new site or you're building your new site, try to avoid using quick edit on things, because quick edit in this new D9 and layout builder is not the best, and it could potentially not break your site, but it kind of, where Derek is at, he's not able to kind of see things. It kind of breaks the functionality, and we just have to clear the cache on his browser in order to kind of get back to where it was before. So it is something that is it's a little annoying, and it's something that needs to get better, but this is probably something we're going to just remove from our platform to have that quick edit functionality, because it's more damaging than it is helpful. So whenever you see that quick edit, don't click on that. Just go ahead and go to either edit, or you'll also see the word configure, and that's where you'll go to do those things. And Derek, I'll help you out with that here in a second, but let me get everybody started on our next task here. So now that we've kind of gotten the taste of how to kind of build out these layouts and create these pages, what I want you guys to do is I want you to create your own page. You just create a basic page. The title can be whatever it is that you want. Don't put anything in the body. Again, we're going to start with something fresh, a blank canvas to kind of work on, and then add it to the main menu. And put it under My Cool Page. So My Cool Page is going to be the parent item. So when you see that, when you're adding it to the main menu, under parent item, you want to select My Cool Page. Then you're going to click Save. And then we want to click on Layout at the top. We want to remove the body and remove the menu block. That's section 3, kind of how I showed you guys. And then, And then at the bottom of the page, create a section with 3 columns. Actually, that's something we didn't go over, and I will help you guys out with that. But once you remove those blocks, let's just add in some new content into those, a new block. This last part is number 9. Actually, I will go over that with you guys at the end. But let's get those pages created. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Derek, yeah, so while everybody's working on that, I get everybody about 10 minutes here. Derek, for yours, what you want to do is that you want to clear the cache on your browser. So I'm not sure if you're using Firefox or Chrome, but if you go to the actual the settings, or what is it under for, or what browser are you using? Derek, you still there? All right, I don't think he's there anymore.
Derek, it looks like you just rejoined. Vincent was asking you which browser you're using.
Chrome.
Chrome, okay. Yeah, so in order to kind of get rid of the that functionality you accidentally clicked on quick edit, if you go to your settings page in Chrome.
Oh, clearing
go to
cookies. I just did that.
You cleared your cookies and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it fix it on the actual site?
I think it did actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I can actually click buttons now.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, that quick edit functionality is not the best.
So I have a question. I'm in the layout portion for creating a page, and it just keeps giving me like these bootstrap things. Is that like the sliding bar that we see at the top navigation?
Yeah, so if the bootstrap thing, so there's two buttons for when you're in the layout section. There's an add section, and then there is a add block. So the section will bring, if you clicked on add section, that's what brings up the bootstrap thing. That's for adding in a whole new area, and we'll get to that in a second. But that adds in a whole new area for you to add content in there. So what you want to do to add in the content is to click on add block, and then that will bring up that section where we had to be able to put in those content, whether it was a slideshow or a banner.
So I don't even see like a banner option or a slideshow option.
So when you click on add block, you'll see a big, huge blue button that's on the right-hand side of the top. It says create custom block. You're going to click on that.
Oh, okay. Ah, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely, there's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to this, but once you kind of get the hang of it, then it gets pretty simple to kind of add in and kind of do these type of things. Yes, Summer.
So I'm at the last part where it says add one basic block in each of the columns, and where I added the bootstrap, like the 3 columns, how do I add the basic block at this point? Because it's like a long list of options.
Yeah, so when you select, so if you've done number 9, and you've created the 3 columns, the bootstrap 3 columns,
Yeah.
so that should add in a new section, whatever it is. I think it should be like 2 or 3 or whatever it is, wherever you put it.
Yeah.
So within that section now, you will have the 3 columns, and at the bottom of each column, you'll have a blue button that says add block.
Yeah.
So if you click on that add block, so that will bring up the right-hand navigation again. And then if you click on the big blue button that says create custom block, that's where you'll go and add in a basic block or anything else that you want in that particular section.
Okay.
Do you see that, or are you still not seeing these?
No, I see it. So now I would just add the basic block.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense. Sweet. Thank you.
Okay, so I apologize. I think I'm a little behind. When it says to remove a body block and remove a menu block, what does that mean?
So when you create your basic page and you go back into the layout section, if you scroll down, you'll see these. Once you click on layout, you scroll down, you see in section 3 that there's a block that just says body on there. So that's just kind of like just a placeholder because you have nothing in there. and then to the right of it, it says main navigation. So those are that's the sub menu, and then the body block. So you can go ahead and just remove those.
Oh, okay. Mine say different things. That's why I was getting confused. That makes sense. Okay. Mine just says test and placeholder.
Okay.
Thank you. So why are we deleting those? Is it just part of the exercise, or?
Yeah, part of the exercise, just so you can kind of get used to like, oh, I can remove these things. We can add them back in at a later time. But yeah, but it's just for the exercise.
Okay. So if we wanted to add it back in, how would we do that? Or is that like really complicated?
I'll go over that here after this.
Oh.
I think somebody accidentally removed the main navigation. All right, I'm going to go back to the website here. So one thing to note while we're in here. So one thing you might notice as you guys are working on your website, you might notice that the main navigation has kind of disappeared. And you'll see this little hamburger menu into the right-hand corner here. So what we have built into the new platform is that in case you start adding in too many main navigation items, instead of them stacking on top of each other and kind of breaking that top navigation area, the header, we've done it so it now builds into this flyout menu that if you click on it, which is kind of starting to become standard with, especially with mobile design, is this hamburger menu. So it has it just fly out here from the right. So in case something like that happens, we can always fix this in the sense of we just have to rethink of what we're putting into that top level navigation. If you're putting in too many items, it's going to default into this flyout menu, which is better than having it kind of break and kind of having things stacked on top of each other and not looking the greatest. It's more organized this way. But let me show you kind of quickly how to kind of change some of these things around. So for this one in particular, now that I have this open, I'm going to click on edit menu or configure or edit menu here. So I'm clicking on that. So we have our main navigation in here. Some of these things we've added in, people just added in new pages. You can see here, we have best cool page brownies here. So these pages are starting to be added in here. One of the ones, this awesome page, this was added to the main navigation, but I want it nested under my cool page. So I can easily take this and just drag it here. And now it is under my cool page. This same right here, this should be a duplicate of these things. I'm going to make it so it is now under my cool page. The Arizona and events, I'm just going to move these around as well. So they're all under the same area. And then now everything's nested under my cool page. I'm going to click on save here. So now that I've done that, my main menu has kind of gotten back to quote unquote normal. So that allowed me to kind of just nest everything under here, and then we should be good to go. So just in case you guys do run into that, that's how you can kind of easily change those things out. Kathy, we can look into making that a little bit smaller. I think just by default we have it by a certain percentage of the actual size of everything. But in case, yeah, that flyout menu can still be worked on, but it's kind of a new feature that we're adding in there and seeing how our users interact with it. So, but to go back to this layout builder and this kind of what we're building here, we had a couple questions on things. The first thing was adding in those different columns, those different sections. So that's what section 9 was about. So I'm going to quickly go through that. So again, kind of what I was saying during the exercise is that you have the ability to either add a block or you add a section. What we've been doing are building blocks, which are just either just blocks of content, text, whatever it is. But now we want to add in various sections. So I know, Allison, you kind of mentioning like, well, we'll remove them. How do we add those things back in there? So for me, when I was building my page, I removed the entire section. So that section is now gone. So if I click on add section here, I can always put it back in there. So if I were to click here, I want Bootstrap 2. So these different, you'll see these numbers, the Bootstrap 1, 2, and 3. These are the amount of columns that will be in this new section that you can add content in there. So for this one in particular, because I want to add back in that main navigation menu and the body itself, I'm going to click on Bootstrap column 2. So I'm going to recreate what was there. When you do that, you'll see this little menu here that allows you to kind of, how do you want that section to look? And how do you want it to operate on different devices? So for me, I'm going to leave the default of the boxed and the with the gutters. What that means is that it creates that this white space on the right and left, and it keeps everything aligned with all the rest of the content. When you remove those, if you go to edge with no gutters, that's what this banner image is. So that's why the banner image sprawls across the entire site and there's no white space on the left and right. It's because it's the edge to edge with no gutters. But usually for the most part, if you're creating new content, it's always good to just kind of keep the box with gutters and then just work on it from there. The last thing to take a look at are these different settings that you can have on different devices. So for this particular one in on the desktop, I want this to be a 67 and 33%. So meaning that the box on the left is going to be 67% of the page, while the box on the right is going to be 33%. So it's going to be smaller than the one on the left. Definitely play around with those different looks and feels to see kind of how you want it to be. But we can always add in different types of layouts in this. So these are kind of just the defaults, but if you ever want specifically it to be something else, we could do that as well. Because one thing that this doesn't have is like a 33% on the left with a 67% on the right. But that's something that can be added in for you, or we can teach you guys how to kind of build those type of things. But that's even more advanced than what we're going over today. But I'm going to keep the same look and feel on the tablet as I do with the desktop. And then lastly is this mobile section right here. And so on the phone, obviously, it's going to look a little bit too cramped with everything if I have them side by side. So I'm going to click on this 100%. And so what that means is it's going to stack things on top of each other. So that's what this section is going to do. So now I'm going to add it on there. And then now I have these two different sections here. And again, when I move the screen here, depending on where it's at, they will stack on top of each other. So as you can see, the blocks now change. So this would be more like how it would interact with on my phone. So that's just kind of one way to kind of see how those things work. Any questions on adding sections and kind of playing around with those different columns? Okay. So one of the things that we did obviously was to remove those that body block and that main navigation section. So when we do that, we can always add those things back in. So for this one in particular, I want to add back in the body of the page that was there. So you can search and you can filter by block name. So what this is that this is showing all of the existing not content, the existing either blocks or the information that you filled out. So if you filled out the body, you would actually go through and look for what is called the body. So if I click in body here, for example, should pull it up. So let's see what happened to my thing. This content fields right here. So this body right here. If I click on that, this will just throw back in the body. I'll leave everything else just the default and click add block, and it adds in that placeholder for the body field. That was what we deleted. Same thing will go with the navigation items. So if I were to go ahead and click on pull up navigation, main navigation, click on this. This one, the menu levels, I'm going to do the second level. So that just means that I'm not going to get the top level stuff. I just want the second one. And I'm going to just click on add block here. That puts it back in the placeholder of the main navigation block. And I'm going to click save. So as you can see here, this now builds out all of the pages that we've added onto under my cool page. So that's what that main navigation sidebar was showing. This is the second level. This shows everything that is in the my cool page section. So obviously when I do that, this creates this very large white space, and I kind of want to put some information in there. So what I'm quickly going to do is going to go back in, because I added in that body and I had nothing in there from before. I'm going to go ahead and just generate some text here. I'm going to keep them long, generate. I'm going to throw this in here, going to save it. And then now I've added in some text here. As you can see, it's displaying that body title. I kind of want to get rid of that. So let's just go back into layout and configure this. Don't have it. Oh, it's because the label. I'm going to just do hidden here, update. And that is gone. Okay. So that's the process of kind of adding in those different columns for sections. And you can have each section. So here's the top one. Here's the next section with the two side by side. And then you can obviously add in a 3 section, a 4 section, whatever it is that you want. Any questions as far as adding in these new sections? Okay. Allison, the version of Drupal, this is Drupal 9, the latest version that it is. So the way that we have this structured out, though, is that this is kind of how we have our version of Drupal kind of built out. This is called the agency platform. So you'll find some stuff on, if you're looking for some more additional training, if you search for things, don't search for just Drupal 9, because with Drupal 9, you can build a website 1,000 different ways. But if you're looking something specifically to kind of help you out with what you're going for here, I would definitely look up some training on Layout Builder, and that's something that could just help with additional things on top of what we're doing here today. Is there a PDF or PowerPoint presentation that has direction on how to navigate through changes and additions to the website? Helpful versus rewatch videos. Yes, Jacqueline, we're actually putting together. We have some stuff that we're working on as far as just actual text documents that will break down each thing that you can do. As it could be as simple as just logging into the website or adding in a block. We are working on that, and that will be available within our showcase website and the new showcase website that we're developing. But those will be out soon. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over here is, yes, Marjorie, we'll be able to send you past trainings recordings as well. But the next thing I kind of want to go over is that sometimes when you add in those various sections that you're doing, some stuff can feel a little bit cramped. And I kind of want to show you some interesting things that you can do with those sections that you create. So for this one in particular, I noticed when I had this page pulled up, this the body and the main navigation was really close to here, was really close to this next section with the 3 cards that go across the top. So if I click on configure section, what this does is that brings up back that menu that we did, right? Where we were editing how it looks on desktop, tablet, mobile, whatever it is. So the other thing to take a look at is that if you look at the top, you'll see these 3 tabs where you'll see the style and you'll see settings. I'm going to click on settings here. So something you might notice here is that these are just a bunch of classes that you can add onto it. Nothing you really need to worry about unless you're getting really into doing the code. You're doing some back-end code. But for the most part, for most people, you don't have to worry about that section just in case you're curious of what the settings is. But for those of you who are working on the code base and adding in your own CSS, those are the type of things where you can throw in some of those classes for these sections and blocks. The one you will take a look at though is going to be the styles tab. So this little paint icon. So here you're going to be able to do certain things to that. Whether that was to change the color of the background of the entire section, or if you're going to change I want the text of this to be white versus black, you can change those type of things in here. But for this one in particular, what was bothering me was the spacing between the 2 sections. So what I could do here is that I want to add in some extra padding in between these type of these sections. So for that top I want the top of the section and between the cards that are there, I'm going to add in some padding. What I recommend is that you go all the way over to the second to last one. It's called, you'll see that this number here changes to 64. It doesn't quite mean 64 pixels for those of you who do web development. I think it's supposed to be 64 pixels, but it's not. It is not that large, but it does give you some spacing there in between, and it's only adding it to the top. Be careful if you add it to all, it's going to shrink the section on the left and right too, and it won't line up with everything. So always go with the top, and then you can also obviously do it to the bottom as well. So it adds in that spacing. And that's all I want to do here. I'm going to click update. And as you can see here, you can see the spacing is there a little bit. I'm going to click on save layout. And when I scroll down, you can see that gives me a little bit more spacing in here. So it's not so cramped in there, but that's kind of just one way in case you are seeing those things where it's just like, oh, those are too close together. How do I kind of give it a little bit more white space? That's how you'll go about doing those type of things. Other things that you can kind of play around with here. So if I click on layout and let's say let's say I add in, I'm going to do something here real quick. So I'm going to add in a new section here at the bottom. I'm just going to make it 1 column here. Going to add in the section. I'm going to move these cards down there. So I'm going to click, drag, and these cards are now at the bottom of the page itself. I'm going to save the layout. So I can see here, the cards are at the bottom. One cool thing, and definitely to kind of just to play around with on your own time, it could be either a nice touch or it can be something that doesn't look so great. But for this bottom one, I do want to show you guys here. When I click on configure this section that I just created and go to style, one thing you'll notice is this animation at the bottom. So if you click on animation, it brings up these different animation that you can add on to the section itself. So for these cards, let's say I wanted it to fade up. on here. So I'm going to click on save. I'm going to update it. So what this does, when I click save this layout, when I scroll down, you can see how those cards just kind of appear as I scroll down to them. So it adds a nice little touch to it. You can make your site kind of look nice and have those little animations in there, but there's some animations that don't look so great. So, but that is something that is just kind of a nice touch that that layout builder has that you can kind of implement onto your website to add in little touches like that. So it can look good, but it can also make your site not look so great if you don't use it in the right way. But that is definitely something that you can play around with to kind of enhance the visual aspects of your site itself. So I'm going to fix one more thing here. And I'm going to reduce the padding that was added because now it's a little bit too far away. Let's bring it back down to 0. I'm going to save it. Okay. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information here at this part of the training. Does anybody have any questions or anything that I can maybe go over again that you guys had questions on? Okay. So what we've kind of gone over is a few different things, right? We were configuring this layout. We've added in different content, whether that's a banner. We've added in this cards here. However, there might be something that you use. So let's say for these cards that I created, I want to use it on a different page. So I'm going to click on somebody's page here. I'm just going to go to my awesome page as an example here. So here they put in a slideshow. It looks great. So what I want to do here is that I want to add in those cards that I just created for that other page. One thing you might notice though is that when I go to add in those cards, they're nowhere to be found. I would have to recreate those cards every single time. So, and that's a little bit of annoying if you want to reuse certain elements. So there's some things to keep in mind here. When we create blocks on this layout builder, and I go to block and I create a custom block here with the big blue button like we've been doing, that's only going to create it once and you can't reuse it anywhere else, which for 80% of the time, that's pretty much what you're going to do. I only need this banner image to be used on this particular web page or this slideshow. I don't need it anywhere else. I just need it here. And that's good enough. So that will get you where you need to go. But there are going to be some cases where we want to create stuff that we want to use on different pages. So what we're going to do is to teach you guys how to create those blocks that you can use on different pages. So instead of going the traditional route of going to just clicking on add block and then create custom block here, where we're going to go is that on the left-hand navigation item, you're going to go to the structure section, which is this little stacked icon here to the left, and then go to block layout and then add custom block. So this custom block is what you're going to use to create something that is going to be used on different pages. So for this one in particular, I can reuse that card set, or maybe I want to create an accordion. It could be an FAQ that's found on different pages. So I'm going to create an accordion just as an example. And if you don't know what an accordion looks like, I'll show you here in a second. But this one, you're going to care a little bit more about that block description because you're going to want to search. We're going to search for it later. So I'm just going to call this Vincent accordion. And then in the heading, let's just say this is item 1. In the body, let's throw in some more cupcake ipsum. I'm just going to throw in a quick paragraph here. And then I'm going to add another accordion item. Let's just call this item 2, body, and then let's add one more. Vincent item 3. Throwing some stuff. Okay, so now I have 3 accordion items that I'm going to want to use for on different pages. Click save. It says the accordion item has now been created. It takes you to this little block section. You don't need to worry about what is in here. We can just navigate away from here. I'm going to go back to the structure, block layout, and then the custom block library. So what the custom block library is going to be are going to be the blocks that you can reuse. So anything that is in here, you can continue to use throughout the website. So this one in particular, you see my Vincent accordion. That is on here. Now I know that I can use that on various pages. So I'm going to go back to the home page. I'm going to go to my cool page. I'm going to go back to the layout like we've been building, and I'm going to add in that accordion item. Let's just say I'll add it right here. And so instead of going to create custom block, I'm going to actually search for it on this filter by block name. So I named it Vincent accordion. There it is. So that way, when you name something, just think about what you want to name it, so it's easy for you to understand what it is and what you can and how you can just quickly find it. So Vincent accordion. I'm going to have the title on here, just be whatever. This is not going to just show. I'm going to add this block here. So go back up here. So here's my accordion that I just created. Let's save the layout. So these accordion items are just kind of these drop down in case you're not familiar with the accordions themselves. So if you click on it, it brings up kind of that body that you had placed in there. So these are good for like FAQs. You can put the question in there, and when you click on the question, there's the answer. But you can utilize them in different ways, however you feel would fit for this particular one. So now I have that on this page. So I'm going to click on my awesome page here again. And then when I click on that, I want to add in that same accordion item on this page. So I'm going to click on layout, scroll down. I'm going to add that block. And then I am going to search for it again. Here's the Vincent accordion. And then again, you can name it whatever. Add the block. And here it is. It's the same exact thing. I'm going to save the layout. So now I have it on this page. I have it on the other page. So that's good. Now that block is being utilized in different places. So that's how we create those reusable blocks. So if I go ahead and quickly and I say, I want to edit this because I want to change item 1 and item 2. Let's just say we switch these two. Again, here's the dragging. So now item 2 is above item 1. And then let's just say I'm going to call this Ralph item. And then I will change this to Will item. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. So now I edited it on the page I just added on there. So I have Will item, Ralph item, Vincent item 3. If I go back to my cool page, it is also changed there as well. So that way, obviously, you just have to change it one place. You don't have to worry about creating multiple blocks and then having them be not connected with each other, and you have to kind of change them around for different pages. It's easier to kind of set up that reusable item. Yes, Judy.
If you wanted to move that navigation block up next to the accordion, would it shrink your accordion? Can you do that or no?
Yes. So, and here's something just to think about. So say we want to do that. Say like, oh, I want it to be pushed up. So the accordion item is in this one column section. So if I move up that main navigation, it doesn't put it next to it. You can either put it on top of it or below it. So what I want to do is that instead of moving that main navigation, I'm going to put that back down into where it was. I'm going to move the accordion block into the second section next to the main navigation. So if I do that, it will shrink it down, save the layout, and it shrinks it down. So now that's next to that, but still functions the way that we want it to.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay. We're going to jump into our next task here. I know it's been a while since we did our last one, but let's go here. So what we want to do is that I want each of you to create that reusable block, kind of what we just went over. If you go to structure, block layout, and custom block library, if you click on that, obviously that'll bring you to the library of all of the reusable blocks that we can use throughout the website. But at the top, you'll see a button that says add custom block. We're going to select that. And then I want you to create a text with image. So you can give the title of that block something relevant, again, so you can find it later when we do that search. And then you can fill out all the fields, add in an image, save the block, and then go to the, and then you can go back to the page to find your page, and then click on the layout view and then place that block into 2 different areas. So you can also reuse the same block on the same page. So you can place it in 2 different sections if you wanted to. But let's do that for exercise purposes here. And let me know if anyone has any questions.
So for getting to structure, that's I think where I'm getting tripped up. Where do we get for that?
Yeah, so if on the left-hand navigation, you'll see the structure, which is that little stacked icon. Looks like 3 squares stacked on top of each other.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
To the right, you see block layout and then the custom block library.
Got it. I apologize. My connection died partway through, so I didn't get to actually see what you were doing. So I just had to rejoin separately.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Custom block. So how do we get to the content overview page then?
So the content overview, so kind of like where you had structure on that left-hand navigation, the one right above it looks like a little notepad icon. If you go
I got
there, and then go to overview. That's kind of another quick way, and that was something we covered in the first training.
Gotcha.
Where you can kind of go and find your page kind of quickly, and the other pages on the site.
Okay, so when we're on our page again and we've created that reusable block, how do we get it plugged in? Like it's already created, but
Yeah. So when you're there, you're going to click on layout.
Yeah, on
and
that.
You're going to add in a block kind of like how you've been doing. However, instead of clicking on the large blue button that says create custom block, below it has that filter block name, has a little area you can enter in some text. Search for what you called it, and it should pull it up on that list.
It's not. Oh, here it is. Okay. Just took it a minute. So now it's just giving me configure block.
Yeah, so when you select it, so let me just pull up to make sure I'm navigating you right. So when I click on it, yeah, it says configure block. Just go ahead. The title can be whatever it is and just say add block. So obviously it doesn't show what you created, but if you just add block, it will throw it in there.
So what if I want to go back and edit it then? Because like I was trying to get a text overlay, but now it's just showing me the picture and then the text like off to the side, but not over it.
Yeah, so if you were okay, so when you add it in there, just go ahead and save your layout. So when you save your layout, you hover over it, you're in the view mode, and then the little pencil icon will show it, and then you can click on that and then click on edit, and it will take you back to that edit page where you first created it.
Oh, okay.
So the text with image block is supposed to be side by side. It wasn't supposed to be the text on top of the image. So that's kind of how that particular component works, how it looks.
Gotcha. Okay, I was misunderstanding.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the website here. Let me know if anybody has any questions here. All right. So here I have my page. I'm going to click on my awesome page here as we've been working with it. So here, obviously we have just an example of the image with text side by side here. I'm going to edit this here a little bit here. So I'm going to click on layout. I'm going to move this particular one down to next to the main menu navigation. I'm going to put this accordion item that I created and put it down there too. I'm going to click on save layout. So there, it keeps the main menu to the right side and kind of cleans this up a bit. Now I'm just going to let's see if I can grab somebody's block that they created. So I'm going to create one more here and add a block. Don't know what you guys named it, but I'm going to go down to this custom section here, and then I'm going to see if I can find something here. Rabbits are cool. I'm going to click on that one just because I like the name. Click on save. And it's actually the one I just used. Okay, so I just put it in there twice. But as you can see here, you can grab these reusable blocks, place them in here, and use whatever it is that you want. Let's just say very special text with image, add block. And you can see it's just a different one that people put in there with some text. So I'm just going to go ahead and click save. And that kind of just shows you that you're able to kind of just take those, build that library out however you want to be able to kind of reuse the same items around the different parts of the website itself. Now, does anybody have any questions on that? That should conclude at least this part of the training itself. There is one more section as far as going into a little bit, adding some color and kind of changing those things around. And if you want to stick around, we can go over that. But one thing I do want to go over is those resources. Somebody had asked earlier just about, how do I add documents to my site itself? So I do want to go over the resources with you guys. So for the resources, if you're going through our turnkey migration, one of the things that you might notice is that our vendors have found a lot of old documents that you no longer need or want to display onto your resources page. So just in case that does happen to you and you kind of want to be able to edit those, one thing to note is when you are on the resources page and you're logged in, when you hover over that, these little pencil icons come up. If you want to get rid of something, you can quickly click on this and then click delete. So that'll actually remove that resource from that page. So just be aware though, in case you're on the resources page and say you get rid of something like the state statutes and rules or something like that. If you do it on here, it will also remove it from the state statutes and rules page that you may have created as well. They're linked together, so just note that might happen. So just be careful what you're actually removing from there. And if you do remove it, obviously we can always just recreate it. Obviously, it just takes the time to kind of refine those the link and do those type of things, but you can obviously just replace it. Now, for those of you who are asking, how do I add that document or add to this resource library itself? So under the content, and you go to my content, you have the resources content type on there. So if you go ahead and click on that, I'm just going to call this, this is my resource. Let's say this is a policy. And then under that, I'm going to add in a media. So you have the ability to either add in a media or add in a link itself. So you can link off to Google, wherever. So you can add that in there, or you can obviously link to an internal page as well. So you can do that, and then you can add a description in here. Again, I'm just going to throw in some lorem ipsum here, and then click save. So when you do that, it just kind of shows you this is everything that you added in there. I go back to the resources page, and now this is my resources been added in there. It is a policy. When I click on more info, here is that extra context I put for this particular document. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I was the one who asked the original question, and that actually doesn't answer my question.
Okay.
What's happening is our main page, and I can actually shoot you guys the link to this. So we are required by state law to post things like agenda for public meetings. So here's an example. I just shot it over an IM. So when you look at that web page, when the migration happened, all of a sudden we had this thing with title, meeting, agenda minutes, like that was recreated for us. It's missing a ton of documents that used to be on the website, and it's missing stuff that we need to put on the website. And I have no idea how to edit this page. It's not the resource page that I'm asking about. It's a completely separate page that has decided to randomly make a grid during the migration. And even our like IT person for Access that we work with, they weren't even able to figure it out. Like none of us can figure out how to fix it. Or how, and I'm sure it's just because we don't know what we're doing, but we just need to figure out how to fix it because that's like our main thing we need to do.
Okay. Do you mind if I share my screen and kind of go through that?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. All right. So, let's see.
Yeah,
I want to
like-
make sure I'm also understanding. So, first, I'm just gonna sign in here.
Okay.
Okay. So, actually, I'm gonna click back on that link about meetings. Okay. So to make sure I'm also understanding what you're asking for. So you want to be able to add in those agendas or the extra documents that go along with the meeting that you guys have, correct?
Yeah, like be able to add that and edit that and delete stuff. And I'm not seeing any way to. Like we've tried clicking that edit button. That doesn't, like the pencil, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
We tried the content. The best we could do was get it on that sidebar just to comply with the public meeting law.
Okay. So what we're doing here. So here's what we're going to do. So there's two things we go about this. So I'm going to go to the content and go to the overview page. So when I'm on the overview page, I'm going to filter out everything that is just the meeting content type. So this is the meeting, right? That's what we're trying to edit here. I'm going to filter.
Well, it's an agenda. We're trying to, I don't understand the question, I guess.
Yeah, no. So here, I'm just showing you. So here's all the meetings that were uploaded, right? So June 23rd, let's say in that list was one of the ones that are in there, right? So if I go to this particular meeting and I click on edit, down here, this is where I'm able to add in that agenda item. So if I want to add in an agenda item in here, you can upload a file on the choose files, and then you can upload that agenda item onto there, and then you save it, and then it will update on that particular that page. So that's one way to add the agendas, and then obviously other attachments that go along with that. You can add in other attachments that aren't necessarily an agenda item or minutes. So that would be one way to update what's already there. Now, if you wanted to add in a new one for your particular site, you'll go to add content and you would click on meetings. And this is where you would go in and create the meeting for, I think the last one you said it was May something, right? May 23rd, I think, or something.
Yeah.
May 23rd, 2022. So again, and I'm not going to publish this because this is your live site, but this is where you go in, you do your start date, your end date, the time that it runs, and then you would go in and add your addenda and your minutes and other attachments. And then when you save it, it will then appear on that page to add in your council meetings. It will appear here.
So my concern here is we have quite a few different types of meetings. So is this just going to willy-nilly dump in all meetings onto this page? Because that's not what we want. Not at all.
So let me just check here.
Like I thought there would be a way to edit the grid and add grids to individual pages, and because we could do it in the previous version, but now we can't.
Yeah, and we can go over this a little bit more in detail outside of this, but we can add in a category, so you can categorize what those meetings are, and then from those categories, we can create different sections on the website to have those ones in particular fall into. So let's say one's a council meeting, the other one is, I'm not sure what else you would have, but we can categorize those meetings and then have them be in different sections of the website.
Okay. Yeah, because that we would definitely need to do then.
Okay. Yeah, let's we can set up a meeting, and would probably just only take about half hour, and I can create that stuff for you to get that
cool.
up and running. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yes, kind of going back a little bit to the training itself. Does anybody have any questions on anything that we've gone over? Okay. So the last thing, I mean, you guys are free to go. I know it's going past about 5 minutes over. The last thing I was going to just review with everybody is kind of add in a little bit more visual stuff that you can do with landing pages. Just let me know. You can stick around. I'll kind of start going through that. So one thing to note when you're going through this, one of the cool things I showed you, right, is just that animation stuff. So within that style tab, we can do, more stuff with that. So if I go ahead and let's say I click on, I'm gonna click on layout here, and I want to add in a section that just some kind of call to action that looks a little bit more, let's say, visually appealing. So I'm going to add in a section here. Just going to do a 1-column section. And then in this, I want to add in just kind of a light background to it. So this is going to change the color of this section that I'm working with. And just to note, obviously there's green, yellow, red, which can be, careful on what you're choosing here. It could look obnoxious or it could mess with your accessibility score. But here's a light background that you can do. But these last two, these colors 1 and 2, are actually dependent on the theme that you have. You can play around with them to see what they look like. So I'm going to choose one just so we can kind of see what they look like. And then I'm going to, for the spacing, I know it's going to be a little bit cramped with the new section in here. So I'm just going to add in spacing here real quick. And then let's add in a fade up animation. Flex section. So here now it's showing, here's a light blue. It's kind of light, kind of cobalt blue. This is kind of with this particular theme that we have on here. So I'm going to click on add block, and I'm going to grab one of the ones that somebody created here. Let's grab pass it. Yeah, let's grab the time on task. It's a slideshow. Never mind. I don't want that one. Go back. Use Judy block. So here I have this image. So I'm going to click on save here. So here, as you can see, you see that animation as it kind of picked up as I kind of scroll down. Those are the type of things that you can add on to the sections that will do it. So again, it's a nice touch. When I do it twice, it kind of starts looking redundant, doesn't look as great. This is really close to this section, so I probably want to add some padding in here. But as you can see here, this adds this color to it, kind of gives it it breaks up your content a bit and allows you to kind of put something in here, it kind of highlights it a little bit. So here's kind of a way that you can kind of add visually appealing aspects to the pages that you create. But I do want to clean this up a bit. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to get rid of the animation on those cards that I put at the bottom. And I'm going to add some padding in there. So it's not right there. So I'm going to add in style. I'm going to add in some padding. Let's do the top. Put some at the bottom. And then I am going to take off any scroll effects that are there. Click save. Scroll up, save the layout. Scrolling down, and as you see, that appears on there. But when I scroll down a little bit more, this is no longer doing that fly up. But I've also added some padding in here as well to kind of clean some stuff up. So here, obviously, we have it so you can break up that and your content. So you add some colors to it, and it has that better look and kind of feel to it and kind of cleanness. But it's pretty easy to do once you start kind of getting the hang of this, how to kind of build with the style stuff. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to change the color to something. Let's say I'm going to change this to red. Red's going to be pretty bright. It's probably not going to be something that's going to be the best looking, but let's click update. Let's just to kind of show you what it looks like. It's very bright. You can kind of see it on here. When I click on save layout, so here, right? It's a little bit. It's probably affecting your accessibility score. This stuff here is a little bit. It's hard to kind of read, especially with that black and that red. But those type of things can easily change. If I go and say change layout, again, going back to editing the style of this particular section that's here. And let's just say I changed the typography. I want the color of this to be white. Maybe that look a little bit better on that red than the black. Maybe it's a little bit easier. You might notice this where it's like, oh, I can't see it. This because it's extra white here. This is something we're going to fix for people, but your text is there. It's just because it's white on white. That's a CSS issue that we're going to fix, but I'm going to click on save layout and scroll down. And as you can see here, it does add in that, that white. It's a little bit easier to read than it was before. Probably still not great with your accessibility score, so I definitely don't recommend it. But I do want to show you just that there's different ways to go about kind of creating those things. And then let's just say for this one, I want this to be bold. That'll be the last thing I do. Save it. Scroll down. And it bolds it a little bit to kind of make it a little bit easier to read. But again, that red is very loud. It's probably not the best color to use, but you kind of see that you can change your background color and then change the actual text color within it. So things will stick out and kind of read better. But those are things that you kind of play around with. Anybody have any questions on that in particular? I would definitely say start playing around with that because there's some cool things that you can do to make your site just a little bit more visually appealing. There's things that you can do that allow you to kind of have this little bit more customization and cleaner kind of look and feel of things. There's ways to kind of get around stuff to maybe not even necessarily using a banner itself, but creating something with a colored background, which is a nice text and image in there. As an example, let me see if I can create one that I had done for a different site as an example. So let's just say for this one in particular, I want to get rid of this banner image. I can remove this, remove block. And by the way, if you guys remove a block that was created just once, just know if you do that, you're going to have to recreate that block in case you accidentally do that. So if I wanted that banner I just had in there, I'm gonna have to recreate that because it wasn't a reusable block. It was just that one time. So I'm gonna add something in here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna add something simple. Let's just say I'm going to add in a text with image. Let's see, I'm gonna select the image I want to use. Let me see if I can find it. And somebody put in a bunch of brownie stuff. That looks really good. I am looking for something here. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking for a graphic that I created. So this is just a simple graphic that I created here. Alternative text. When you guys are uploading images, in case you guys haven't done this yet, when you upload an image, try to be as descriptive as possible. So let's just say Arizona logo with vendor logos with it. This is an unofficial logo, so this is just something we did for testing purposes. So I'm just going to click the crop. So like I said before, when you're adding in a new image, you're going to have to crop those things in to begin with. So make sure to take the time to really think about what you're cropping here. Now, my image, it actually is transparent where it is gray. So in case you do have those graphics that are transparent that you want to add in here, just note that when you do crop them, that gray is not going to show up. It's just going to be there because the image is transparent. The slideshow, not really going to use it for slideshow, but I will crop that, make sure that that's good to go in case I ever do feel like doing it. And then square crop, good to go here. And when you click save, you'll see this show in media library. This is something that's old that carried over from an earlier version of our platform, but you don't need to worry about that. When you save it, it's going to go automatically to that library for you to use. As you can see here, that did have a transparent background. Now it's white. It's no longer gray. So in case you are uploading something with a transparent background, that's how you go ahead and do that. So I'm going to insert this one. And let's say for the body, I'm going to play around here with this. I'm going to make this full HTML. I'm going to say, I'm going to add in a title. Say this is my full page. I'm going to make this, let's see, run a couple sentences here. This I'm going to make a heading 1. I'm going to add a style to it. Let's push this little red line to the left of it. And then I am going to go ahead, go down, I'm going to add this block. So this creates this kind of larger image with this text on the side. And what I want to do is I want to add in a background to it. So I'm going to configure the section. Going to go back to style. I'm going to add in that light blue, which was this that we selected before. I don't think I need padding, but we will see after we upload it. I'm going to update it. I'm going to get rid of this red because it's bothering me. Save the layout. So as you can see here, this I used a different block. It's not a banner, it's not a slideshow, but you can get creative and you can find some different ways of doing things. So this is just simply a text with an image with text on the side, and I kind of just added some stuff within the WYSIWYG to kind of add it in there to create this different type of looking banner with a color background. So this is just kind of a different way of going about doing this. So this is kind of how you can get creative with this layout builder and kind of the colors stuff. Definitely would recommend going in, playing with stuff, see how it looks, and to see if you can kind of create something a little bit more interesting with things than just having it be one column with just one type of block. You know, try it with 4 columns. What does that look like? What are the images that maybe you put side by side with each other? Stuff that maybe we don't have available yet, but stuff that we're working towards to make those type of things easier. That's what we did with those cards, is that at the beginning we started with just one card and then you had to create 3 columns, but it wasn't very conducive to kind of adding in additional cards. So that's why we created the card set that allows you to create as many cards as you want, and they start stacking on top of each other and will configure itself into a way where it looks good in case you don't have the right amount for, let's say if you have 3 columns and you want to put 6 cards in or 5 cards in there, they will shrink other things down to make it work so it looks good no matter what you do. So you don't have to worry about building out those different sections and adding in individual blocks. We are finding ways to make things easier for you guys to be able to kind of create things. Now, does anybody have any questions on any of this stuff? All right. Well, that's all I got for everybody here. If you guys have any additional questions on anything, please feel free to reach out to myself, Will, or Ralph. We are here to help you guys as you guys are getting your new websites or building out the websites that you guys are currently working on. All right. I appreciate everybody attending. You guys have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, you too.
Thank you.